How to obsess over fitness, over your fitness goals, over being healthy. And I feel like there's a lot of people, especially on the internet, it's a trend of, going on runs, going to the gym, having marches. And don't get me wrong, I think that's a very good trend. I think the more people make it trend, the more people are going to be healthy, the higher the standards of everyone. And I just think there's a gap between how people get to that obsession. There's a lot of people that will feel lost, that will feel out of place because they don't feel that same sort of obsession that most people that have been going to the gym for 4 years, that have been running for a long time, that making now running 10Ks or under 50 minutes, under 40 minutes. There's a huge gap between the people that haven't started and the people that are already obsessed. And I feel like the people that haven't started will now compare themselves to these people because that's the only thing they see. They don't really see people that starting out that are as obsessed or starting out like them that are trying to be obsessed. And when I'm saying obsessed, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm not saying that you're addicted. I'm just saying it's who you become. I'm just saying it's who you naturally are at that point. The people that go to the gym consistently, that are running consistently, that's them. They've obsessed with it so much that it becomes them, that it becomes their identity. And I just wanted to share some tips on how, looking back, I've been going to the gym for 4 years consistently now. I have over 200 tracked workouts. And I just wanted to share how I think you could build the identity of someone that's active, healthy, is going to the gym regularly, running regularly, how to build that as quick as possible. Of course, you need volume. You won't have the same conviction and the same belief that someone that has been going to the gym for 10 years will, you know. But it's actually possible to work on that identity. One, the first thing that most people don't really realize or notice, but it happens everywhere, is external pressure, external motivators, external scenarios that push the identity onto yourself. Sorry about that. It's You see it a lot with people that enjoyed sports growing up, people that were good in football, good in rugby, good in whatever you may say, good, whatever you were good in basketball. Most of those people started with talent. Okay, they'll start out, then they were sort of good in when they were young, so they made the school team, and they were so good that everyone else in school realized that about them, and they gave them that identity that, oh, okay, no, Leah's he's that point guard, or he's scrummy, and he's a striker and he's good, so everyone has that identity of you. And so whenever teachers or other kids see you, they reinforce that identity. Okay, they're reinforcing that identity of someone that's active, someone that's good in basketball. And once they reinforce that identity, you have to act in alignment with that identity. As human beings, we want to seem consistent with what people view us as. Okay, we want to seem consistent with, okay, if I'm someone that's a nerd and someone that enjoys learning and someone that has good marks, whenever I have bad marks and people comment on that's going to make me uncomfortable. That's going to make me want to push more for the next test. That reinforces that identity even more now, because after you had a bad test, you're now going to realize, I don't like this. That's you reinforcing that identity more. And we have to just work on that with our fitness as well. So actionable steps you could take is, I know it's hard starting out, especially for people that are introverts, but it's joining running clubs, joining classes, fitness classes. I know some gyms have fitness classes whereby you guys get together, they schedule a date and a time, you get together and you have a fitness class. once you go there consistently, starting out, it may be hard because you don't have the identity. You're going to want to stay in bed. You're going to not want to show up. Once you have people that see you there for 2 weeks and you make conversation and trying to make, social connections with those people, they're going to have expectations of, okay, Leah has to come to the gym today. Leah, you have to come to the gym. They give you that identity. You, Leah, that goes to Pilates. You are Leah that goes to, HIIT sessions. So you're going to want to uphold that identity they've given you. That's the first thing. So the easiest thing is to join groups or make connections that will make you have to uphold that identity that you set out first, because it will be uncomfortable once you have friends or you made connection in that class and they're like, hey, are you coming to the gym? And you say, no, I'm lazy. It's uncomfortable. We don't want to come across as people that are inconsistent. We don't want to come across as people that are failures. So that's one thing. It will be uncomfortable starting out, but I just feel it's the best way to remove the decision from you. You're not making the decision. People are making the decision for you. And that's extremely important. The second thing is to make the identity positive. Okay, so going back to the example of someone that was good at school with sports, that made the identity so much easier to hold on to, because it was a good factor, because they now have more friends. The teachers were giving them more attention. They were getting compliments whenever someone, whenever they did good with their identity, or hey, I saw you, you did good in last week's game. You're going to help us out in this week. Of course, that's positive reinforcement. People are, they suck in your dick, and everyone likes being complimented. Everyone likes being, I don't know if everyone likes their dick being sucked, but you enjoy that. And how you could do it for yourself is make that habit attractive. Okay, whenever you do go to the gym, if you have the funds, get yourself a matcha, get yourself coffee, get yourself a smoothie, and I think Virgin Active does that well. Is that whenever you hit your goal, they give you a free smoothie. And if you have the funds, make a system around that. Make your habits so attractive to do. Make that identity attractive, and it gives you positive reinforcement. That's an idea I have. It's, make it so exciting and fun to do. One thing you could do is that you could maybe join. You don't have to necessarily go to the gym. You could start out by joining a football club, five-a-side. You could join a running club. Running clubs are sort of, I haven't joined a running club, but I think they'd be amazing, especially for people that enjoy connections. It could remove the daunting task of running, getting tired, getting, to meeting people, talking to people, seeing baddies. Just make it attractive, man. Make it attractive. Find ways to make the habit, the identity, as exciting, as rewarding as it can be. Whether that's through smoothies, whether that's through connections, whether that's through actually making the sport fun. Don't start off by making it hard, by going to the Stairmaster for an hour. Try and do something that you enjoy doing, even if it's weird starting out. If you starting out to go to the gym and you're skinny, if you want to do arms, man, just go ahead and do arms for the whole day. No one's gonna say, hey, man, why are you doing arms for? Just do what you enjoy doing it at the gym, and as the habit, as the identity sets in stone, then you start doing other things are going to be so much easier. Once you've set that identity, running then 5K under 25 minutes, under 20 minutes is going to sound exciting, because that's your identity. You're a runner now, and it's not just showing up, it's showing up and beating your personal best. It's showing up and running under 25 minutes. So really make the identity and the habit exciting. I really hope you can hear me. It's 9 minutes in, and I didn't even check if you guys can hear me, but surely you can. surely you can. But yeah, it's then there's a lot of unconventional ways to build this habit. There's a lot of unconventional ways that can be seen as being a try hard. One thing that I did to start out with the gym was I watched a lot of fitness content, and wasn't necessarily people going to the gym, wasn't necessarily people talking about which session to do, which exercises are better. It was just watching this brownie, watching people that were doing fitness challenges, that were making the gym exciting. So if you want to run, find fitness content that would make fitness exciting. There's a lot of people that make fitness exciting in this day and age. Online on YouTube, they make challenges out of going to the gym. They make challenges on eating healthy. There's a lot of people. I haven't found people that have made running exciting and entertaining, or maybe I just haven't found the person for me. But romanticize over your identity, romanticize over your process, and that's going to be watching documentaries, of inspiring documentaries, that's going to be trying to make your algorithm enjoy content similar to gymming, running, and that works with anything. I'm only giving you fitness ideas because that's what I did. That's an identity that I feel like can't be broken unless I actively want to break it. It's just it's just part of me that it's like, people are like, yeah, they just put me synonymous with going to the gym. They just put me synonymous with being active and being healthy, and yeah, just romanticize over your identity. Try and watch content that reinforces that identity, that makes that identity exciting and rewarding. And one other thing would be, it's definitely a try hard. It's definitely a try hard. I haven't used it for fitness, but I used it for my other identities in sales, my other identities of being someone that is obsessed with becoming and becoming better. And that is, I think it should be a different video because there's so much that you need to understand about it, but it's writing down from the point of you're already that person. So it's, let's say you want to be consistent at the gym, and that is writing it down every day, morning, noon, and night. Most books like Think and Grow Rich say you don't have to necessarily do it morning, noon, and night. You could just do it morning and night, but just once you're writing it, attach some emotion. So it won't help just writing it down. Once you're writing it, try and attach some emotion. Give yourself, a scenario in your mind where when you're writing it down, or once you're done writing it down, give yourself a scenario for 10 seconds whereby you're at the gym and someone's giving you a compliment, and you're smiling, you're acting all giddy. Just attach some emotion to it. Stir it up, put some emotion, add a little bit of Jesus, and it's just, you're just going to internalize that. Your subconscious is going to internalize that identity so much quicker. And this is called activating the reticular activating system. It's a part in your brain whereby once you write down something so much, and most people write it down with their goals, that I am making this amount of money through sales. I'm making, I weigh, let's say your goal is to lose 20 kilograms. You now weigh 80 kilograms or 70 kilograms. I weigh 70 kgs and I go to the gym consistently by this date. Okay, and then you visualize yourself being sexy. You visualize getting compliments. You visualize people coming up to you and they're like, "Hey man, can I get some tips?" Write that down, visualize it. To be honest, I think I think there's better ways to use it. Okay, just because I'm obsessed with with finances and career, just shouldn't mean that everyone should be as obsessed. But if your obsession currently and something you want to become better in and craft an identity and is fitness and becoming healthier, then definitely do it. And then just actually works. There's actually a book that called It Works that it doesn't go into depth about this, but it just gives you the actionable steps, you know. And a book that I know goes into this is Psycho-Cybernetics. They go into detail about identity, Think and Grow Rich, the chapter on desire, the chapter on, is it imagination? But there's chapters, it's desire, it's imagination. Don't know if there's visualization, doubt it. But they go in depth on how this actually helps you craft that identity and craft that burning desire to be an active person, like crafting that desire to be, top 1% person in sales, craft that desire to be the best father you can be, you know. Yeah, that's all I could help you guys on today. And hopefully, oh my flipping days, I should have been here. Don't I look better here? And I also need to stop squinting my eyes, genuinely. I think I feel less human once I squint my eyes. You guys can't see my eyeballs. But yeah, guys, go ahead and fit your goals. Become the person you were sent on this earth to be. Become the person that you see yourself and you feel like you were destined to be. I think that's just what life is about. The continuous chase on being the person that you were sent to be, being the person you were destined to be.